Hey all, Paintmarine back with another Paintmarine's Workbench. And as you see, the model that I'm holding kind of close, trying to get the camera to focus in on that. It was focused in the beginning, and maybe if I cover this and I kind of lean out of the way, it'll refocus. There we go. So we're going to go over how I kit bashed this guy together. The only difference is it won't have the skull on the bottom, but everything else will be pretty much the same. The head may be different. And also it won't have the bolt pistol, and it'll have a different shoulder pad here instead of the Minotaurs. And all of that being because somebody actually reached out to me and wanted me to kit bash one up for them, so they have had a few different design ideas, and so yeah, so I'll be doing that for them. That actually is going to be an Ultramarine Watch Captain. So real quick, right now as I make this video, there's a bit of a Deathwatch Watchmaster drought as far as Games Workshop website, at least the US website, is out of stock. It's been out of stock for a decent amount of time on the Watchmaster. And my nearest Games Workshop, they had one on the shelf, but it's a 2.5 hour drive, and I just haven't had the time to really get away to go all the way that way. And then all the other local stores that carry Games Workshop products in my area also do not have one. But luckily, using the power of the internet and Facebook, I was able to track one down on one of the trading websites, or not trading, but trading groups for 40K models and such. And that's because going on eBay, there was a lot of people trying to capitalize on the drought. You could find the Watchmaster on eBay for like $40 and $10 shipping. There was one that was like $18, and then they were charging like $40 for shipping. It's just ridiculous. They're basically scalping a model that's just out of stock. There's no, I mean, it'll be back in stock at some point. But anyway, so luckily I found one. It's the little paper that came with it is a little worse for wear. The person that sent it to me. But I mean, it's whatever, because it came in a bubble wrap thing. But the sprue was 100% intact. Everything's good to go. So yeah, and it's $25 shipped, so it was regular price plus didn't pay tax or extra for shipping, which was that's awesome. That's a great deal. So very very happy I was able to track one of those down. And then the other thing that you need is the Primaris Captain, is the other model used. And then for this particular one, because he's going to be an Ultramarine Watchmaster, I'll be also using a few bits from the Primaris Ultramarine upgrade sprue. I have both, and the shoulder pad I'll be using is from the original. Let me turn that there. The original upgrade sprue for Ultramarines. And then I'll be using some bits from the Primaris specific one. So let me kind of get a setup. Hopefully I can get a good view to where you can see what's going on, and I can have a pretty decent movement about as I make this. And yeah, enjoy. Alright, welcome back. So we have the Deathwatch Watchmaster sprue, as well as the 2 sprues for the Primaris Captain. And we'll go through real quick, and I'll just clip out the pieces that we're going to need for each one, and then go from there. I thought about kind of doing like a time-lapse speed up of this portion, but I think I'll just kind of maybe do real time just so you can see exactly what pieces I am cutting out. So for this one, you're actually going to cut out just about all of them. And that's just because there's just so much you're going to use here. So obviously we want to cut out the main Guardian Spear here. Just go through and fairly quickly, kind of being careful, but you can always come back through and clean it up. Now let me get my camera a little bit better here for you, sorry. Alright. Alright, then next we'll cut out the arm with, I can't remember this key thing that's on there. It's like I don't know, some special key that it's like a master lock key to unlock anything in the universe. something that the Blood Ravens love to get their hands on. Alright, and then we're going to cut out the main cape piece back area, because we're going to basically salvage this back kind of high collar thing, and then we got to cut this leg off so we can salvage the cape, and then we're going to cut the backpack out so it can fit onto our Primaris body. Next, the main body here, because we're going to just salvage this front tabard cloak area, and you see here, there we go. Okay, and then also we definitely want to make sure that we save this arm, more specifically the forearm piece, because we'll be using that later. And like I said, like this, so it currently has a fist, so if you wanted to use like the straight arm or, you know, a closed fist at the side of your model, you definitely could, because I like mine with the outstretched and the bolt pistol. But the client that I have now wants just like a pointing finger, so luckily, I mean, I have plenty of those, plus it comes with the Captain anyway, so we'll be cutting that hand off of there. And then you want to take the like kind of servo skull piece off. If you wanted to, I suppose you could use this backpack. They are comparison a little bit smaller and not quite as robust as the pack that comes actually with the Captain, and so I like to kind of keep it more as Primaris as I possibly can. So I kind of clip there, and then I'm going to be pretty careful and just clip that off. Alright, so I have that. So that is it. So all you have left is this leg here, the pack, and this shoulder, and the head that comes with it. And the only reason that's there is because I'm not using it for this project. You might prefer this shoulder pad and that head for your Primaris Deathwatch Master. Alright, so let me set all of these aside for now. And we can clean those up later, but we'll just set them all aside. And then now we'll take a look here. So, what do we want from this? So basically on here we're going to take most of this. We're going to take the body, so the back piece, arm, all this, the torso, the legs, and that's it. We'll be leaving the cape pieces behind. So let's quick knock this out. Like I said, I'm doing it fairly quickly, but still being careful because I don't want to have any big gouges. And then I'll go back and we will clean this all up here in a little bit. Now this is a great conversion. I think a lot of people like the way that the one that I originally made looks. Alright, so there we go. But like I said, it's a fairly expensive conversion to do, just because you are taking two character models, one that's $25 US dollars and one that is $35 US dollars. So definitely a little bit expensive. And then mine in particular, because it has that skull, I can show you again here. Because it has that skull piece there, like that came in a $25 kit. Granted, I have all these other skulls I use for other projects. It's not like I paid $25 for just that one piece. But you know, if you don't already own the skull set or whatever, or you've already used it, you need to get another one, whatever it might be. Yeah, so this all together is a pretty pricey model, but this hobby is pretty pricey. So, all right, now here I'm going to I'll remove the pointing finger because that's what the client requested. And let's see what else we got. Looks like that's actually about all I'm gonna do. I'm going to take the backpack off here. So, and I think that's actually it. Normally there'd be other kind of like, I'm not sure which head I'm going to be using yet, if they want like this head or the bear head or they're a completely different one. You don't use the weapon or the sword at all in this unless, like, you know, for the sword, instead of pointing or a bolt pistol, you could have the pointing, or I'm sorry, the sword outstretched. But the client didn't want that in this case. You also have like this kind of elite cross skull thing, but I'm actually going to be using a piece from the upgrade sprue and replacing that. So yes, really, actually, you only need those couple pieces from this one. And with this, you don't need the iron halo on it, so you want to be careful to remove that, because that is actually where the servo skull is going to connect in. So just being careful and just do a quick little snip. There it is, and I can clean that off and make it a little better later. So that's it for the pieces that we need as of right now. Now, the really tricky part of assembling all this. But first, what I'm going to do off camera, I'm going to go and I'm just going to clean mold lines off, kind of clean the parts up a little bit. And that's all like really redundant stuff that you really don't need to see on camera. And I'll come back and we will start the assembly process. The other thing I'll probably do is I'll probably end up just gluing these shin guard pieces on, because that has really nothing to do with the conversion, just assembling the model. But I will do that, and then we will go on to the next. All right. Okay, welcome back to the next step. So I've cleaned up all the pieces nicely, so no mold lines, and just kind of cleaned up some of the parts and stuff. So let's get started onto I guess what exactly we want to cut apart and do. So first I got the torso piece here, and then here's the front part of that. So now, like, so they want the outstretched arm, so that can stay, but we will have to replace it with this other forearm piece here. And so I mean, we'll get to that, and then this arm altogether will be replaced by this one here. Now, some might ask or say, like, why or how, you know, there's a different scale to these pieces, because one's supposed to be like a regular standard Marine, and now we have the Primaris and stuff here. But you can kind of see there's actually not a whole lot of difference in the Deathwatch, because the Deathwatch came out and they were actually upscaled a bit from your standard Marine. So as you can see here, like this arm here, and this doesn't have the hand on it, but the hand would actually fit about the exact same place. So the proportions of these models, and even here I can kind of almost, you know, this is all one piece with the elbow, but you can put it on the shoulder, and there you see it's pretty much sitting like right where it would need to be. So the proportions between the Deathwatch and the Primaris are very kind of minimal, if you will, in scale. So first things that we'll do here is we're going to take off this arm here, because like I said, that's where, here it is, the Guardian Spear arm will connect. So we'll do that, which is a fairly simple process. I'm actually using my clipper, so it's a little bit easier. And I'm going to go this way, so that way I can kind of get a cleaner cut there. And boom, there it is. So that one is off. Let me see if I can kind of zoom in a little bit more on what we're doing. Okay, so we have that off. Alright, so the next thing that I'm going to do is just kind of set that there for now off to the side a little bit. And now on this, I'm going to take this whole arm off here, and then we're going to take off this front I don't know, fabric cape, cowl, whatever you want to call it. It's not a cowl, but tabard off here, and basically the torso will discard. It's kind of a little bit unfortunate because I do like the Inquisition style eye and decoration on the chest, but it's just not quite the exact scale that we need. I mean, you can kind of see here it's a little bit. I mean, it's about the right size, but it's just a little bit work, and this is really a pretty simple conversion that we're doing. So really, there's no need to be super neat and use your X-Acto on this portion here, as long as you are careful and you're damaging this. Plus, this part here of the shoulder, we don't need. We only need to make sure that we salvage this front part here. All right, so I'm just gonna come in here and take that off. All right, so now this is where it need to be a bit cleaner and neater. So definitely you want to be careful with this here, because we want to save the belt piece as much as possible. And as you can see, when I did that one snip right there, it started to separate. I don't know, you can kind of see the stress. It kind of actually separated up to about right here. So I'm going to try to do the other snip here. Excuse me. The table kind of moved a little bit on me. And we're going to do the other one about right there. Alright, and now just a little piece there, so I'm just going to twist that off. Okay, and then I'm going to come back in and I'm just going to clean off these little bits. Okay. So, kind of move that out. So that is kind of cleaned up, and there's a bit more cleaning up to do here, but I'm just going to show you here. So this is going to go here, and so you can see we're going to clean off the inside some, so that kind of matches up nicely. And then we're going to take off this little kind of, I don't know, hip thigh piece. So that way, because of the way that the leg sits, it would push that piece up. So we'll do that. But first, let's do a little cleaning up of this. So I'm just going to follow along, and this is probably going to get hard to see because I'm trying to be very, very careful. So all I'm doing is I'm just kind of cleaning up and following the belt around to where the belt is, so that way only the belt is on there, including the this belt buckle. Okay. Alright, and then I need to clean out the inside. Okay. Alright, let's check that out a little bit. Alright, this is definitely a time-consuming step because you gotta be careful you're not gonna stab yourself. I'm trying to get it as nicely as possible and get that curve, and then also being careful to not wreck the piece as well. Got things going all over. There we go. Okay. So we got that cleaned up. So now we're gonna kind of line it up here a little bit. You can actually, because the waist is a little bit wider, we're gonna kind of pull on the pieces a little bit and kind of widen this as well. Actually, I want to have this torso piece on because that's gonna be kind of my guide. So there we have that. So now I'm going to kind of trim down this one belt side and then the other so we can fit it in. So I'm going to cut on this side right where that pouch is. Alright, and so then that would slide in there. And then the other side we're going to do about the same. But I'm not going to take off quite as much. I'm going to just slowly take some. That way I can gauge better if I need to take off more, which I think I do, but yeah. Alright, so I'm actually going to take off up to that thigh piece and take a look. Alright, so that looks like that fits perfect. Fits in there nicely. Alright, so now, gotta clear this off a little bit. The next step that we're gonna do is this little hip piece here. So I'm gonna very carefully cut along the top part. Oops, that was off camera a little bit, so let me kind of bring it in for you. I don't know if you can see here. There you go. So I just cutting the very top against the belt here. And now the next part here is oops, here we go. These keys. Now I'm going to cut along this key so we can kind of keep that one key there in contact, or yeah, all in one piece. Gonna be very careful because if I don't want to push too hard or go too fast, that if I slip, I mean, this is gonna go right into my fingers, which has definitely happened before. Alright, so there we go. We got that off, and now even here I got this little corner here, and I can leave that there just so that way, you know, I have a thing, or just take it off. I'm just gonna take it off myself right now just to kind of make things a little easier on myself. Okay, so far okay, and I'm actually gonna take a little bit more off on this side with the pouch just so I can get it to lock in a little better. make better contact all around. And then a little bit more on this side to center the belt buckle. There, that's a little better. Okay, so next step here I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this forearm piece, and I'm going to do it right at this elbow joint because that is where I want to connect my other arm. And now I'm going to try to do this as straight and as against the like parallel essentially to that elbow armor piece. Okay, there we have it, and then we'll clean up a little bit. Okay, looks pretty good. Okay, so let's get our pieces kind of more together here. Get all my discards away. Okay, now we're going to glue some of these pieces together so we have kind of something to work with. Alright, we're going to start here with the body piece. Okay, that's all good and connected now. And then next I'm actually going to do the legs. Okay, and then we're going to make sure it stands the way we want it to. Hold there a little bit. Okay, so we got it standing now. And next we want to add this. So again, I'm going to kind of widen this out a little bit, just so make sure that we have a good length, or yeah, good width to it. Add a good amount of glue in there. And I'm going to do something I forgot to do on the other one. I'm going to kind of come in here and separate that one key a little bit from the rest so it has some flexibility, because on the other one with that leg that pops up, this key does tend to kind of get in the way. Okay. Alright, and then now I'm going to kind of trim the belt a little bit because it does stick out a little bit more than the other one. I'm just going to fill in a little bit of plastic glue right there. I'm just going to kind of hold it a little bit just to make sure that we get a good connection in there. Okay, and then just put a little bit of glue on the belt and on the thigh, because this is where that piece that we cut off earlier is going to go. And actually, to make it fit a little bit better, I'm actually going to trim the top of it, so that way it sits a little flush, a little more flush than it would normally. Okay, and then just gonna drop that in there. so. Actually, I'm gonna have to do a little bit more trimming there. It's not quite sitting as flush as I would like. So, again, this is like difficult to get this in there without, pushing the knife through my fingers. Well, that's a lot of glue. I don't want that much. Alright, let's try this now. This should be better fit. Oops. Alright, this one leg is giving me problems right now. I don't really know why. I'll try to set it up here and see what's going on. Alright, well, it's sitting pretty well now, so let me... check it out now, okay. Okay. Alright, so now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue the model onto this base and then let the kind of the core or the base of this model to start to dry and come back and then do the rest. That way when I'm trying to add the rest of the pieces, I don't get this big mess as it's like falling apart as I'm trying to keep everything together. Alright, so we will take a little bit of a break and I will be right back and we will continue building the rest of this guy. So that's where we're sitting at right now. Alright, see you back in a few minutes. Alright, we're back now. We've given it's probably been about 10, maybe 15 minutes to kind of let this glue set in some more. And we'll still have some more time as we work on getting the other pieces prepared and ready to add to the model. The only other thing I did do is I added this little Ultramarine purity seal type thing here that came with the Ultramarine upgrade sprue. And that is, I added that instead of this piece here. So normally, let's see here, that piece would sit there, but instead I did that, and I actually put a little bit of green stuff in the hole so it could kind of block it off so it kind of sits kind of nicely. So I just thought it had a nice little flair since this particular Watchmaster is going to be from the Ultramarines. Alright, so I'm going to set him aside and we're going to move on to one of the more trickier ones to do, and that is this cape here. It's two pieces. Normally here it just kind of fits together like that. You kind of have that seam there, and then it fits like this. Well, it's I don't know, still gonna do that, kind of, but with this piece here, we don't need to do anything with. There's no real modification that needs to be done to that. all the modifications are going to be done to this one. Now, what do we need to do? Well, we need to take off this back piece here, this kind of neck hood thing. We're going to be very, very careful about how we do that. And then after that, we need to figure out a way to take this leg off, which is very interesting. And then we'll glue the parts together. And then after the parts are glued together, I found there's another kind of piece that you kind of have to shave down, because the back leg on the Primaris Captain will hit that and you won't be able to sit right. Alright, so then after we do all of that, we also need to take this like neck back piece, all this out, and kind of carve this out so it will sit on the back of our Captain correctly. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with removing this hood piece. Now, it's always good to try to start and have excess material. So I'm going to kind of start here. I'm going to come around to the back. And you can see here where like this little, I don't know, joint piece is. I'm actually going to kind of go underneath of that and then try to cut from there, because that kind of gives you, like I said, the more material to work with. And then before we place it on, it'll be trimmed anyway. Okay, kind of worked it in there. And then I like to do this kind of seesaw motion to try to do my best to get a nice even cut. So this looks like it was a pretty flat, good cut. Looks pretty even here. Yeah, everything. Oops. Yeah, got a pretty good cut there. Pretty even. Oops, I keep dropping that piece. Okay, so now we just got a little bit of cleanup to do, so we're going to clean this up off the back. Okay, and then we're just going to kind of see how it looks real quick. Okay, so that doesn't look so bad. Like I said, it's about the same width. You probably have to go here on the sides and kind of just pull it out some, but I'm actually gonna kind of shave the height down a little bit before I place it on. Now doing that can be kind of hard to do, to keep it nice and even, so you get that flat contact when you go to put it on. Alright, I'm going to test it out again, see how it looks. Alright, looks good. Looks really good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of, sorry, I'll try to get better. I often get really into making the model here, and then I look up and I realize I'm doing stuff off camera. Doing my best here. Alright, so kind of stretch it out a little bit to get the width right. Pair it up, and it looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece on. And there it is. Looks pretty good. All right. Looking better and better. Move some of these pieces over here out of the way, and now we get to move on to this part. Now, this part is probably the more difficult one. The leg isn't so hard to get off, it's more or less getting this backpack to cooperate and get it put on. So, first thing I'm going to do here though is I'm going to take this leg off. Now I want to be careful that I don't cut this cape or ruin the cape in any way. So yeah, I'm going to do my best here to, yeah. You see I took a cut there and it kind of bent the cape here and kind of created stress. Now I can fix that here in a minute, but as of right now, there. So you got the cape off, and of course you won't see that stress once we get that. It happened when I made my other one as well. It's just such a thick piece of plastic right there that yeah, it doesn't like to come off super easily. Alright, so I'm going to come here and just kind of try to clean things up a little bit. So that piece right there that I just clipped is one of the pieces that kind of hits the back leg when you get this all assembled. See, slipped right out of my hands there. Alright, let the camera refocus here. Alright, all's okay. Alright, I'm going to trim a little bit here. I don't want to do too much. Alright, now let's check the fit again. Okay. So it's still fitting. Alright. So everything's still on track to fit. Alright, now probably my least favorite part of this is removing this kind of section right here. It's just not an easy task to complete, but once it is, it's pretty much all downhill from here. Yeah, so we're gonna start. I'm gonna try to take just this kind of neck piece area out. So I'm starting on this side because if I lose some of the cape for whatever reason, that's alright. I want to try to keep this as much as possible because that is where the Guardian Spirit arm has a pretty good connection right there. So hopefully I can maintain that somewhat, but we'll see. If all else fails, I'll have to green stuff, fill in some gaps. Alright, so and then you can come in here. And then down the middle here, just split it. And it's kind of like trying to cut it into pieces where you can remove it like a loose tooth almost. Yeah, sometimes these kind of conversions seem really messy and like, wow, how can this ever turn into something awesome looking? But then they do. It's just, you know, it can be scary taking the risk with a model, especially when you have two models that can start to get kind of expensive. Alright, so I'm just going to kind of clean this out some. Clean that up. Alright, and then let's take a look kind of where we're at on the model itself. Okay, so I know I'm going to have to cut like this kind of piece off so it'll sit. But I just want to try to get an idea of kind of how this will sit. Okay, that's about right. So I'm going to actually do this right now. So on this, it's nice, like this piece here will be covered up by the backpack, so it's not too, if they kind of clip that or whatever. Once you put that backpack piece on, and let's see, try to get the other piece kind of lined up and see where we're at all together here. Okay. So I'm going to have to take that off somewhat and try to trim that up. So I got a little bit of that connector piece left, but really trying to get a good feel for where I'm at here. Okay, so I feel a little resistance in here, so I need to kind of shave the inside of this down so it can sit better on the back. Okay. See how that helped us out. Okay, this looks good so far. Now the other thing is I need a little bit more room on this side for it to sit in on the back. Okay. Like I said, this is kind of the more time consuming. This is the hardest part, I think, of this conversion, is this cape piece. Getting everything just so it all lines up and looks good. You want that piece there. Needs more. I think I still need to come over a little bit more. Yeah. I could try to fill it in with green stuff and, you know, have a little bit of a gap, but I'm just gonna kind of go. Green stuff's never fun if I have to resort to that, so. Okay. Let's try this again. is working. Okay. Looks like we are good to go now, so we are going to do our best now to try and glue this cape together. I don't have all my great contact points with that leg gun. Everything else kind of taken away on this one. Okay. So this cape is the hardest part, I think, of this whole conversion. Dang it. Trying to hold this thing together. Alright, let's take a look and make sure. Alright, so I can't really, on the camera, I'm holding the pieces together. Just trying to make sure we get solid contact here. They're kind of pushing apart right now on me. Not really wanting to stay super good, but we'll get it here. Keep that smoothed out. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give this a few minutes to dry too before I start to try to place it onto the model here. So I'm just going to set that one aside, and then in the meantime we will work on the rest of it. So this piece here we'll work on now. So before we put anything together, we want to start to separate a few things. One thing is we're going to be taking this fist off, since the client had asked for the pointing fingers, or pointing hand rather. Okay, and then kind of clean it up a little bit there at the top. Definitely being careful here. Alright. Got a nice flush connection here. Alright. If we were to put this piece together, you see we have excuse me, no hand. But we do not want to put that together yet, because we still need to separate a few things. Alright, so on here I'm going to be separating this shoulder pad from this kind of elbow guard, and then we're going to very carefully separate the elbow guard from this forearm piece. So it looks like I only have 4 minutes left on this video, so I'm going to try to make sure I watch the time, and I may have to stop, upload some of the videos, and then come back to finish this. Unfortunately, we're very close to the end, and yeah, we'll just have to deal with that. Alright, so shoulder is released. I'm going to kind of clean up this little archway area a little bit. So I'm sorry I keep doing this out of there. So I'm kind of just cleaning out this little area here because there's a little where the connection of the that elbow guard was. Just cleaning that out. If you wanted to put it on now, you could. I'll probably wait in a second to get the rest of this forearm piece on. And then next I'm going to cut this forearm piece right here where the elbow is. And straight down. Right. Easy day. Everything looks pretty straight and clean. I'll just do another quick check here. Alright. And next thing, I'm going to remove this. Of course, being super careful, I might actually use this real quick. Just so I have something more to kind of hold on to. Alright, be very careful. Right, almost there. Okay, and then I'm going to place that off the side because we're definitely going to use that piece later. And then again, kind of clean up as best I can. Alright, and then I can go ahead and glue these pieces together, and then I'm going to glue that forearm on. Looks like I might be running out of time here. So let me get this on before we run out. And then at the very least, we'll just have the backpack and the cape to put on. Alright, so putting the forearm on. And there's the forearm. Oops, there we go. There's the forearm on. Pretty awesome. And then you're going to take the fingers here. Alright, well, welcome back. I had to take a few videos off, so I got about 20 minutes left for memory, so hopefully I don't run out of time, because we are on the home stretch here. Only got 3 parts. We got the cape and guardian spear, the backpack, and the servo skull, and then a head of some kind. But as you see, I went ahead and I had finished up the arm. So yeah, so you see I saved that elbow piece and kind of trimmed it down and then put it there to kind of cover up where I had initially removed it. That just so it kind of fits better, and then you can kind of tilt it and position it, because if you just leave it on there and just trim it from there, the position is a little bit off. But anyway, so yeah, so there's the arm on, and like I said, you wanted the pointing hand, so we have the pointing hand on there. Alright, so now we're going to fit our guardian spear on as best we can. Let me remember to do this on the camera so you can all see. Okay, and I'm actually going to be doing some trimming here. I want it to sit closer than it is right now. Okay. Let's check that out. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to get that glued. it down a little bit around the cape here. Okay. Gotta be kind of careful. I kind of pressed on this little purity seal piece here. Okay. Yeah, there ain't much there for it to grab onto because there's that kind of that gaping hole here from where we cut the shoulder piece off earlier. Okay. But we'll get it all on here together. Okay. And then let's get this backpack on. Add a little bit of glue here with the cape so it can contact with the backpack. Okay. So we got this backpack on. Alright, and there we go. Now there looks like there's like kind of a little bit of a gap here in the cape from where we cut, but honestly once you get it, you can kind of get a better look here. Once I get this other shoulder pad on, you'll see it looks kind of like a natural droop, like the cape like just kind of droops around the backpack there, and it's just kind of getting pulled. It looks kind of, the way the shadow's hitting, like it looks kind of off-putting, but in person here, like it looks actually pretty natural. All right, so we got that. Backpack is on. All right. I'm actually going to. So they took that pack off. The arm wants to shift now. Anyway, I wanted to take that. For some reason, it looked like when I put the backpack on, it was looking like it was sitting crooked. I'm not really sure why it was doing that. So anyway, I went ahead and just removed that little square peg piece so I can seat the backpack better. Part of what's going on with this cape is I didn't trim this bottom part enough. It's still hitting that one back leg pretty significantly. Let me take this backpack off. Maybe I'm gonna use the whole 20 minutes here. This should be kind of the last little bit, and it's kind of turned into a small little bit of a pain, but we're getting there. Alright. Oops. Sorry, every time I look up and I'm not on camera. Okay, so there's the pack, the cape's on. Looking good. Alright. Now, need to get this servo skull going. Put a little bit of glue on there, and then this one you gotta kind of hold for a while. And I just realized something here. As I was holding that down, I was kind of pushing down and realized I was pushing the backpack all crooked again. Alright, so there that is. So I'm going to let this dry, and we'll come back and we'll try a head out just so you can see the head. And once it's dry, I may put the shoulder pad that I have already painted on it. Let me grab it real quick. So here's the shoulder pad I had painted before. We can put that on just to get a good look. But I want to wait for the glue to dry because I don't want to actually glue it on now. Obviously, I got the rest to paint first. So yeah, so we'll be back shortly. Alright, well there it is, all completed. I kind of just threw the Primaris Ultramarine head on there, the helmeted one. I like it. I'm not sure if the client's going to go for it yet, as we haven't quite considered or finalized the head on it, but I think it looks pretty cool with that. Let me see if I can bring a little bit closer here. So yeah, like I said, it's not glued on. Yeah, you see it kind of wobbling there. But yeah, I think it does. I think it looks well on there, like that. And then, of course, like I said, here we have the Ultramarine shoulder pad, which is not glued on there, but eventually will be. But yeah, I think this is a pretty awesome conversion. I think it turned out quite well. Yeah, very happy with it. Hopefully, yeah, the client is going to be pleased as well. Alright, well, thank you for watching. Hopefully you found this somewhat insightful. If you try to tackle this yourself, or if you want someone else to, definitely you can contact me. If I'm not too busy, I will try to tackle it for you if I can. But yeah, so hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and until next time.